Hello, welcome to our YouTube channel, Jabaar Vlogs. If you are new, consider to subscribe, and stay connected to news like these. Johannesburg, the economic freedom fighters, EFF's Julius Malema said the violence that rocked the country 2 weeks ago was a definite sign that South Africa was a ticking time bomb. He also said it was definitely not an insurrection or an attempt to topple government. Malema, during a virtual address marking the party's 8th year anniversary, claimed soldiers were unleashed on those who tried to protest against the African National Congress, ANC government. President Cyril Ramaphosa deployed soldiers to assist in stabilizing KwaZulu-Natal and Gauteng after the two were hit by violence, destruction of property and widespread looting. Over 300 people were killed. He said while his party did not endorse the wanton looting, it sided with the people who were looting and trying to provide food for their families. Ramaphosa has labeled the violence from 2 weeks ago an insurrection, and as he doubled down to describing it as organized chaos, opposition parties are watching and giving their own analysis of what took place. Malema said, "Anyone who suggests that what transpired in South Africa 2 weeks ago is an insurrection, is a charlatan and opportunist, liars who have substituted their brains with hot air." He instead claimed the soldiers were unleashed on those practicing their democratic rights. The Red Berets commander-in-chief has also challenged Ramaphosa to remove soldiers off the country's streets, reminding South Africa's commander-in-chief of the role the army played during apartheid. Bringing soldiers into the streets for civilian unrest is a sign of a government that has no legitimacy amongst its people. He insists the answer to the current troubles lies with the president engaging with his people in their affected communities. Julius has been invited to SAP to take part in discussion regarding the matter which the country is currently facing. Let's listen to him.
Mr. Malema, the raids that we are seeing by government, are they racially motivated? What's the main thrust behind them?
Well, this government has got no respect for our people. I'm very ashamed of being called a South African today, seeing the army going house to house, collecting food from the poor. Half bags of meal that are already opened and used, tin stuffs, in front of children with guns, traumatizing those children. Those children had a decent meal a night before and they were looking forward for another decent meal. Not so decent, but to them very decent. Government of the ANC under Cyril Ramaphosa literally goes and take the food out of their mouth. That is indignity. They've no respect for these people of ours, because you can't see the same attitude in Phoenix and even in Maritzburg, where an informal settlement was burned down by white racists who say these people who reside here are the ones who even steal from us, generalizing a crime to be meaning that it comes from every African they see. So why do you disrespect the army like that? You take it out of the barracks to go house to house to collect the tin stuffs, like his stars and all of that, belittling the army, and the army allowing itself to be belittled in a manner it is being belittled, collecting sanitary towels. Our kids, young girls, ran into those shops. They just took sanitary towels. Today, the soldiers find those sanitary towels sealed, they take them away. At least take the fridges and washing machines and TVs, I don't care. But you can't take food and then come back and say you are going to destroy that. You can't. You can't arrest a gogo in a shop and say she was stealing. She found herself in that space because someone said food is being collected. In her rightful mind, she will never come and steal from a shop. She was not there to burn a mall. She was not part of insurrection. She was going to look for something to feed her grandchildren. If you were brought up by a grandmother, you will immediately relate with what went through the head of that grandmother. And you have policemen, a male, driven by masculinity, holding a gogo like that. And there's nothing wrong when we say release her. Our own Africans call her a criminal when she went to look for food. You can't say that Gogo wanted to burn a mall. You can't say that Gogo wanted to remove Ramaphosa from power. All she needed was bread, and she got prison from a government that doesn't care about our people. So it's everything racial, because murder has been committed. Guns, we know where the guns are. The army goes against where the guns are, gives that place the bag and goes and look for team staff. The army should go where the guns are. The army should go and look for the powerful, not for the weak. But because our people are poor, they've got no one to defend them, they are an easy target. So Cyril must be ashamed of himself, and this ANC must be ashamed of itself, of going into houses with males to go and take sanitary towels, the pads from girls who were trying to have some dignity for that week.
Mr. Malema, these events, were they not politically motivated and sparked by divisions within a governing party, which may be the way that the government and the governing party may be analyzing, a particular faction within the governing party may be analyzing the events of the past 3 weeks?
It's internal, of course, it's internal, but every revolution gets sparked by something. So Zuma's arrest has sparked the uprising of the poor who went to look for food. They were not part of those factional battles. It started as a factional battles. Poor people saw an opportunity to sleep after having a meal, and they grabbed it. It's an internal ANC matter, and that's why I refuse to be involved. Many calls were made that I should go and speak and do manner of things. I said no, because they can't blame Zulus and say this is an ethical issue of Zulus. They are lying. Zuma was defended by the ANC, the whole of South Africa. So whether it started in KwaZulu-Natal or in Gauteng is immaterial. They've always supported Zuma, the whole country. And that's where the people of KwaZulu-Natal got it from, that the ANC has always been behind Zuma. So today, they want to create an impression that they are fighting Zuma. They are fighting a weak Zuma. We fought the most powerful Zuma when he was in power. We fought him. So it's an internal matter. And you can't drag us into an internal matter. But this, I warned about it because a liberation movement in power for 30 years ordinarily self-destruct. We learned that from the African continent. The ANC is going that direction. It's going to self-destruct. That's why the emergence of the EFF is very important. Because when the ANC self-destruct, it must find a strong alternative. And that strong alternative can be involved in internal factional battles that are leading to the self-destruction of the ANC. It's not over, by the way. It's likely to start again this week. I've got information that the things may start again this week. So it's going to be like this for quite some time. And I don't think they will even have their own physical conference. Because if they were to have a physical conference, there will be dead bodies.
Mr. Malema, you raised this point that your sources are saying it may start again. But does that not give credence to a perception that these unrests are directly linked to politicians within the governing party who want to undermine a sitting president of the governing party and of the republic in order to overthrow him?
No, it's political. There's no dispute about it. That's why we say it's factional. So factional means internal political groupings. So it is exactly that. It's political. They want to remove him, and they want to remove him in a manner that is not in keeping with the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa. So they want to do the unseating of the president in a manner that is not in keeping with the Constitution. But it's political, because how should the president then respond to that? It must be political. It can't be through the army. Because if the president brings the army to the streets and is being challenged by civilians, and the army shoots and kills them, that is his exit, by the way. He's playing right into their hands. So if I were him, I will work the ground. He has to go to the ground and mobilize people and educate people. Firstly, the ANC I belonged to, when Zuma got arrested by the Constitutional Court now, if it was still our ANC, it would have said The following day, they will be speaking notes. We'll all be speaking from the same hymn book. One message, many voices. Jesse Duarte used to say that repeatedly in our meetings. And every national leader would have been deployed to sub-regions to speak to the activists, to branches, to explain what the Constitutional Court ruling means practically and what is the attitude of the movement. The ANC has not done that. What did they do? They went to guard the malls and they went to clean the malls, and they clean malls of Alexander with whites from Santed. They don't go and convince the people of Alexander and make them aware that what you did is wrong. So there's never been a conversation with people who committed this thing, and you hope it will go away. How will it go away when you don't go and talk to the perpetrators and educate them so that they can see that they are being used by factionalists to destroy South Africa in order to remove a president? So you can't be scared of your own people. Who brings soldiers to the streets? Some is illegitimate governments. Any government that doesn't enjoy support of its people, when it runs into problem, it brings soldiers. The president didn't win the conference of the ANC, because if he did, the branches of the ANC were going to rise in his defense. In Cuba, when they marched against the Cuban government, the supporters of the revolution stood up in defense of the revolution. Where are the masses of Cyril Ramaphosa to defend him? Every president must be defended by the masses. Where are they? If he's a legitimate president that enjoys the support of the people, why are the people not rising in defense of the president and occupy the streets and say, not in our name, not in our country? They won't rise because they too don't like him. He bought the presidency.
Mr. Malema, how can South Africans trust you, knowing very well that you're at the forefront, marching with Save SA, marching with the DA, marching with what was tabbed in those who are leaning towards the politics of the left, aligning yourselves to the capitalist class and to people who are not within your ideological perspective? And years later, I was in Nkandla when you flew in to meet the former president. Won't they see you as a person who's a political yo-yo?
No. If you guys want to blame me for going to Nkandla to meet Zuma, then you've got yourself to blame. I went to Nkandla to convince Zuma to do the right thing. If I had won, we won't be where we are now.
So you defeated
I went to President Zuma. I said to him, President, comply with the Constitutional Court decision. You taught us that the Constitutional Court is the last arbiter. So why do you want to create an impression that even when they've spoken, you can still speak against them? Go to the commission, whatever reservations you have, go and speak about them there. President Zuma rejected me. But me not being Schumann, I went. When I want a girl, I go for her. And then I propose her and then she rejects me. And Zuma didn't know me, he rejected me. But at least I tried. I can't sit here and say, I want that girl and not do anything about it. No, I went to ask President Zuma to do a right thing. And if you guys want to bury me for that, do it. If you can't trust me because I went to meet President Zuma and ask President Zuma to do a right thing, then fine. You can hate me for that. Don't trust me for that. I will never go to Zuma's side. Zuma dealt with me. My grandmother got a heart attack when Zuma was ill-treating me, destroying me, taking every little thing I had in my life. When she died, she told me openly, never in your life try to go back to the ANC. In my tradition, you don't go against the wishes of the dead. So I didn't go to Zuma to ask for a love back. I went there to ask him to do the right thing. And I'm saying again, if I had won, we wouldn't be where we are. What happened after Julius went? Everybody went. These cowards, all of them went to try and ask him to do the right thing. I took a conscious decision that this time around, I shouldn't scream at him. I must go closer and talk to him. When we gave power to the DA and when we marched for the Zuma's removal, it was in the best interest of this country. We had a problem of corruption which we still have till to date. We had to cut the ANC's wings. We did exactly that, and we won. How? The ANC here won with 50.1 in Gauteng because we took the metros away. They were using the metros money to finance ANC's campaign. You can blame us and say, why do you give the power to the capitalist establishment? We had to stop an immediate threat, which was corruption. In order for us to reach socialism, there are certain things we're going to have to do on the way, including kissing frogs for us to pass. And we did that. And we have no regret about it, because now ANC sits at 50.1. No ANC is going to win any municipality here. I can guarantee you, in 2024, the ANC will be out of power in Gauteng because of those small initiatives. The Save SA that led to the removal of Zuma, took the municipalities, gave them to the DA so that we take away the pest from the ANC, then dropped the ANC to 50.1, then removed Zuma from power. The highest punishment you can give to a sitting president is to make sure he doesn't finish his term of office. Even President Mbeki, till to date, he has not recovered from that. When we did that with Zuma, I was the happiest. What more do I want? Do I want an 8-year-old in prison? Hell no, I don't want that. Do I want Zuma arrested? Yes. What form of arrest? House arrest. He's too old. We have no prisons in South Africa. We've got correctional services. We correct you and reintegrate you back into society. How will we correct an 8-year-old and reintegrate him into which society? So Zuma is going to be a wasteful expenditure. The Constitutional Court should have helped us in that regard. So when I say this, it means I'm a Zuma ally? No, I will never treat my enemies the way they treated me. I will never do that. Even when there's an injustice meted against them, if it's not in keeping with what I stand for and the Constitution of South Africa, I will stand and say this is wrong.
But some may say you've got a history of apologizing. You apologized to former President Mbeki for leading the charge, which you said you were misled by the very same Zuma in getting rid of him in office. You apologized to him. Did you apologize to the former president when you met him?
No, there was no need. You know, that meeting was so heated so much that Zuma's daughter had to come in. She was not part of the meeting. She had to come in and start to make us to calm down and engage from a sober point of view and listen to each other. So there was no time for apology. I never apologized for Zuma. So I will never do that. There's no need to apologize for Zuma. I'm not going to be Mpenya Shilu and kick the man when he's down. I will never do that. When I realize I'm done with you, I go the other way. I pursue a different agenda. I'm in politics. I'm not in personal battles. Do whatever you want to do to me. Pravin Gordhan, when he was ill-treated, I supported him. I said, don't do that to a fellow human being. Even when he ill-treats me, even when he ill-treated me, I will defend my enemy's right to be protected under this constitution. If that makes me a bad person, so be it. My policies, you must ask those who grew up with me. This thing we're talking about of the land, of nationalization, of free education, I spoke this when I was the president of COSAS, from when I was young. So when you say a person is not consistent, it must be from a policy point of view, not from a personal point of view. Mandela stood up after being released from Robben Island and said nationalization is the policy of the ANC. He came from the World Economic Forum and changed and said nationalization is not practical. He was never called a flip-flopper. Cyril Ramaphosa recently said the problem in Natal of looting and Gauteng is ethnic problem. The following day he said, no, it's not ethnic problem. He was never called a flip-flopper because those are your favorites. But Malema, because he doesn't pursue the agenda we want, we must always say he's a flip-flopper so that we delegitimize him, so that people don't listen to him. I don't care how my enemies describe me. I know who I am.
What else did you tell the former president in that meeting?
Shem, we spoke only about the issue of him going to the commission. There wasn't much. And of course, we had to listen to him when he was giving us a history of where these matters came from. He raised so many issues that I've committed not to repeat those issues in public out of the respect that he gave us and we gave to him.
As a leader, how did you feel when you saw his convoy at 20 to 12